Well, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's tariff threat is still looming, and it's impacting Canadians' feelings about buying U.S. products.
CTV's Colton Prale has more on this story. Colton, good morning. Good to see you. So in the new Nano CTV poll, how are Canadians reacting to Trump's trade threat of a 25% tariff on Canadian goods?
Canadians do think that these tariffs are coming. They are taking Trump at his word, and we're seeing that play out similarly in how they plan on responding. The majority of Canadians say they're much less likely to buy American products as a result of these tariffs, about 51%, and an additional 14 say they're at least somewhat less likely to buy American products. So while these tariffs we know will have an impact on the Canadian economy and certainly on the American economy, there could be a knock-on carryover effect in consumer behavior changes that adds another little wrinkle that the Trump administration will have to consider before the imposition of these tariffs. The big question, though, is whether or not we'll see enough consumer behavior changes that line up with what they're saying in this polling. A lot of Canadians, for example, aren't always aware of which products they're buying that are made in the U.S. because there is such a large quantity that come into Canada from America, especially when it comes to fruits and vegetables and things like that.
And is our market cold and even big enough to make a dent or an impact on the American side of the equation here? But the big question, I suppose, really is, so what do Canadians think our government should be doing about these tariff threats? We've seen Trudeau, for example, go and visit Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, this is the big question. How do you deal with it? What do you do next? And so there are two different issues at play here, right? There's the border. There's also the trade deficit. You can hear Trump talking about it in his most recent interview as a subsidy. That's not really what it is. He's referring to the fact that the U.S. is importing more Canadian products than exporting to Canada. And so there's a couple ways that Canada can deal with it. They can redo the CUSMA agreement, the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Free Trade Agreement, and about 1 in 2 Canadians do want to see us speed up that negotiation. It's currently set for 2026. The other thing you can do, though, is you can try to negotiate your way out of these tariffs or do retaliatory tariffs. And again, we're talking about 1 in 2 Canadians just about would prefer to see a negotiated agreement rather than going with retaliatory tariffs, where about 1/3 of Canadians would like to see us fire back. Interestingly, even though the degree of severity of the tariffs we're talking about is very different from, say, 2017 when he imposed those tariffs before, the reaction from Canadians is very, very similar. We're talking a percentage point or 2 difference in the amount of people who'd like to see us negotiate our way out versus fire back with tariffs of our own.
Okay, interesting stuff coming out of that poll. CTV's Colton Prale joining us live with this. Thank you.
Anytime.